probably 10 to 15% of what I do is mediation. And I like doing both yet because it just gives me both perspectives. I really believe there are some situations in which it's better to have better for this couple to have a neutral person at the table. Sometimes it's better to have a couple of aligned people at the table. And it's always interesting to me when I'm sitting as a mediator thinking, boy, if I was a collaborative attorney, I might try this. Or if I'm sitting as a collaborative attorney, I'm sometimes thinking, well, if I was a mediator, I might be able to try this. And so since I like both processes and like them working together, I really wanted to stay involved in both. But I refuse to get involved in saying one is better than the other because it just is a different kind of mentality. I mean, what I believe in more than anything, more than collaborative, more than mediation, is that people in these situations need to figure out how to bring their best selves to the table, and they need to figure out who ought to be at that table. Should it be a neutral? Should it be a couple neutrals? Should it be people aligned with them? Should it be coaches? And we're people who have to help guide them through that important decision, and we just need to be aware of their needs and help them figure out who ought to be at that table without getting into my brand's better than your brand. And then the other two pieces that came along that really deepened my involvement in the collaborative movement, and I'm so grateful for, is the idea of doing this book. I did this book with Stu Webb that you may have shown here, but I'm too proud not to show. The Collaborative Way to Divorce, the revolutionary method that results in less stress, lower costs, and happier kids without going to court, which was published by a division of Penguin. Prior to that, I mean, there were many wonderful books written for professionals that Stu and I and others really were benefiting from, and it was becoming increasingly clear to us and others that, boy, it'd be nice to have a book for lay persons. And there had been actually, I think Deanna Brumley had done something like that, more of a Texas approach, but nothing really on a global basis had been written for the public as of yet. And so Stu and I started to kick around that idea and decided we ought to start working on something together, and I was honored that Stu would want to do that with me. And really was just such an absolute joy to work with Stu and to spend time writing down in detail a lot of things that you just think about before, and actually just the learning process of being able to think through the process and how we would describe it to clients, and to create kind of a tool or a workbook for them, because as we talk about, this process is about them and not us, and we're not really we don't have a lot of materials to train them, and so it felt good to be able to give something that would be used as a tool to help train them. At the same time we were doing our book, Peggy Thompson and Pauline Tesler, great friends of both mine and Stu's, they got the similar thing happen to them in terms of being able to publish and work on a book on the team process, which we were delighted to hear about, and really kind of happened simultaneously with ours, which was good. It's just to back up here a little bit in terms of how the whole team thing within collaborative has evolved, and Minnesota evolved with just lawyers for many years and has been evolving into a team process of the last 7 or 8 years, but has not, unlike some cities that started with full team, the evolution has been different, and we're moving rapidly in that direction. But neither Stu nor I or one of the people around Minnesota who are really the experts on certainly the full team process, and so our book was written with the lawyer process in mind and with a real encouragement of bringing in the team process, but neither of us can teach or train about what coaches do or what child specialists do or financial people. So it was great that Pauline and Peggy were doing a book for lay people that really had the team approach, and ours encourages the team approach, but really starts with the more basic, working with the lawyers part. So that's evolved. That's been an exciting thing to continue to be part of, and there's been more and more books coming out now, and I just think the more the better, because there are just new ideas happening all the time about how to do this. So that was the second thing I think that I was really privileged to be a part of it. And the third one is the space that we're in right now, and I've talked a bit about here, is as we started to do more and more collaborative work in Minnesota, and as we started to work more in teams with mental health people and financials and child specialists working with the attorneys, it became just sort of a dream of mine to say, wouldn't it be great if a lot of us were in the same space, or the same building, or the same office sharing arrangement? Because it just struck me that both from the standpoint of the clients, who really would like a bit more of a one-shop spot so they're not traveling all across the city to meet all these professionals, but then also from the professional development standpoint of just the energy of being able to share ideas with other professionals or to walk across the hall and talk to my colleague about the case, just seemed exciting to me. And so we kicked around ideas for doing that for a few years. And there were 2 or 3 times and I kind of had what I call false starts. I would get together a few of my friends and say, let's do this space, let's do this collaborative center. And everybody say, yeah, great, let's do it. And we'd start to do it, but the logistical problems were tough where, well, people are on different leases and are in different parts of town, they have different economic needs. And I knew it was, as I'd get farther along, I would say, as exciting as this is, it is organizationally really tricky. And I'm good at a number of things, but really organizing all the details of a project like this is not one of them. And I just knew I couldn't take this on without kind of the right team myself. And about the 3rd time around with this, when we got a group together, among the people in the group was Amy Wolf, a financial neutral in Minnesota who I'd started to work with and respected a lot. And she was among the interested people, and she was really interested in being a key organizer in this concept. And I knew at that point that that was the missing link. I mean, somebody that not only had the vision of wanting to team together, but somebody who really could help manage the logistics and create something that could happen. And so from this initial group of 8 or 10 people that wanted to do it, Amy and I sort of became the main principals to rent the space and then subleased the space to what was our initial core group of people. Initially started out with maybe 10 or 12 people and 5,000 square feet 2.5 years ago. It started under the name Collaborative Alliance, which is what we call the suite, the office space where we share space with attorneys and mediators, financial neutrals, child specialists, and coaches, and some others, other attorneys, other professionals. So we started with this space that would, with 5,000 square feet of people, which at the time we only had enough people for 3,000 square feet, so I was initially afraid that we wouldn't have enough people, and by the time we opened we had more than enough people, and we've expanded twice, and we'll be expanding a 3rd time at the end of the year, and we'll be up to about 13,000 square feet and have, just what, I'm a hopeless dreamer. I mean, everybody you talk to about me will say that I tend to just dream bigger than what I can do in many aspects of my life. This is really one of the few where reality turned out even better than what I had imagined. I mean, it turned out to be a great experience. And we've been in this space for 2.5 years now, and we share offices, or share a reception area and conference rooms and common space with a lot of just great collaborative professionals. And more than anything else, what's been fun is just the energy and feel of the space. And we invited our friends in the community to join us and really have gathered such a really great group of people that it's really just been a fun place to work. I think having these kind of collections of collaborative professionals and mediation professionals in the same space is something that people are really liking. And of course, we're hearing more and more about these spaces all over the world now. And there's a wonderful space in San Francisco that Catherine O'Connor and Margaret Anderson and others are doing, and people in New Jersey have started one. And so almost everywhere I go, I hear talk of people whether they're doing either a 3 or 4 person space or sometimes larger groups like this one. And it's something I think a lot of collaborative professionals have kind of a natural affinity for, just because we all like kind of working in the same spot. I've always been a solo practitioner by design. I mean, not always, in most of my practice has been a solo practitioner, and because I just like to do things independently, but I really like the collegiality of having colleagues in the same space and building, and this gives you some of the best of both worlds. So those are the 3 things anyhow that I've within the collaborative world that have been real special for me, that have allowed me to kind of have our peace. And like everything else in this whole movement, it just feels like it's just beginning, and the next chapter is right around us.